Welcome back to the channel of the only person who is consistently correct on this market, yet still manages to lose money on meme coins. Today we're talking about Trump becoming the president of the United States of America. We are going to talk about the market because I'm the only person, the first person in this world to tell you that we will be seeing UBT's all-time high in October when we were short several $100s that no one believed initially. No one believed. When we were short several $100s at the end of October, I told you that we should be seeing the all-time high at 5th at 6th of November, which we exactly saw. No one told you this. Right now, when everyone is bullish, when everyone is talking about and screaming about Trump pump, I'm telling you, they're taking profits on you. We will be followed by a correction. They're taking profits on you and they are dumping in the real time into this pump. We will talk about where is liquidity is coming from, who are the market participants, what is happening on this market. We'll discuss BTC dominance. I will tell you what will be happening moving further. Short term, I expect a correction. Without further ado, let's start. So this is our BTC chart at this stage, and it's kind of consolidating in this level. We kind of broke through with Trump pump. Should it be continuing or should we essentially print in something like this, right? It's hard to say at this stage. I do think we should be seeing this scenario. I do think we should be seeing a correction because there are very, very interesting things happen with this Trump pump. The trade was to position yourself before the essentially things happen with the election, with Trump having a very, very high chance of winning the whole thing. The trade was to position yourself before, and the trade now for these people that positioned themselves before is taking profits on your money, on the money that are getting repositioned back into the marketplace. Now, don't get me wrong. We have different cycles in the market. We have cycles for BTC, we have cycles for alts, we have cycles for memes. Certain meme coins out there, the levels that they are at currently, you won't be able to see them at these levels moving further. But overall, market-wise, I do expect a correction because the trade currently, for people who were able to have balls to position themselves beforehand in the recent dip as well, is to take profits on the market currently because their bull case played out. Is there anything to look up to currently? Long term, yes, we have a very, very bullish setup. Long term, currently, short term, I'm expecting a correction on the marketplace with all the money of all the sideliners, of all the top buyers, of all the top blasting people are essentially taking profits on and getting taken by other players from the marketplace. Separately, I would like to discuss election coins out there. Not doing great at all. We had a huge dump on Trump, right? And we had a huge dump on the range of other election coins. Some of them I de-risked myself, which means sold. Some of them actually bought more. I do think it's a very, very interesting situation that this is really the time where you would want to buy the fear, right? Now, I don't want to buy the fear on $100 million market cap coin, but on some of them, I actually bought a bit more. Not coins connected around the election, but obviously coins connected around Trump. A nice example of something like this happening with proper supply control, which by the way on Blast is up 30% on a daily, is Doge on Ethereum. This is like a nicely manipulated great coin that I do believe most of supply here is being held by like a larger group of whales, and they just did not allow this thing to dump through the election. Because do you understand the stupidity of the situation that was happening yesterday with Trump winning? A lot of election coins around Trump, they started to get crazy buy volume, and fucking stupid jits, poor, they decided to dump the holdings that they were holding. So they dumped coins to zero, which resulted in new people not wanting to buy, which essentially resulted in a range of coins correcting heavily out there, like Trump, like MAGA, and essentially some others. This thing, for example, showed different behavior, therefore naturally it attracted buyers into the coin. And kind of the narrative for this thing is a little bit more long term, but there are projects on the marketplace out there connected to Trump that should be doing well long term because yeah, the guy won the election, but he will be in office for 4 years. He will be in office for 4 years. They will constantly be in use. He will constantly be doing things. He should be doing things with Gary Gensler, with SEC, with regulations. Like Trump is in office, right? I do think that for the things that bottomed out, if you get a nice entry point, it might actually make sense to get into some of them currently, right? Overall, I also wanted to touch on the BTC dominance situation. I kind of like the reaction that we received from 60.9% level Although if I am expecting a short-term correction, dominance should be going a little bit higher. Maybe we'll essentially retest this level and get rejected, finally form a reversal pattern from there and finally move down. Because mid-term and long-term, I'm obviously expecting us to go higher, but right now sentiment is just too good. People are just too bullish, and I have a thread with you to share. It's a long thread, but we will go through it. A very, very interesting overview of the recent market events, recent situations that were happening in connection with the elections, and interesting thought process and a conclusion in the fact that people will probably be taking profits on the assets currently. We do also see a range of assets pumping. I would say overall in the marketplace, the average is 20 to 30%. Interestingly is that we even see this pump on the larger caps like SPX, like gold as well. But the question I have, who would be your buyers? Like, you're buying gold at 700 million currently. Who would be your buyers? Do you think that retail is coming tomorrow because you got lured into all this narrative by people screaming about Trump being bullish and things like that? Very, very soon you will get taken profits on. They will take your money and they will reposition into other coins that have more upside, because I don't think that these things, like, we have a very, very interesting situation in the market as well, is that we just have too many coins. Like, if we had a lower amount of coins out there, we would essentially just, like, they would be pumping heavily currently. They would be doing way better. At the same time, like, instead of it, what do we have? Just a range of assets pumping 20 to 30% out there, which doesn't make sense. Like, you can feel this pump. It's not that great, and that's why, like, attention is great in this marketplace. This is why attention is great, and this is why Murat was able to pump his things, because he focused the attention. At the same time, he tracked a lot of exit liquidity as VCs and altcoin holders out there. So I think we have to think, where is liquidity is going to come from? Is retail coming tomorrow? I don't think so. I think very, very soon we're coming back to our default situation, just looking back at BTC and waiting certain movements from BTC, essentially, right? Obviously, I think once you would break $80,000, like, we should be attracting more and more liquidity out there from the market as well. At the same time, like, people still kind of not care about the things that are happening, but we'll see. So there's definitely a FOMO on the marketplace that you kind of want to buy into the assets currently, because you believe that you might not be able to get the same entry point, which might be true for some of the assets out there. However, I do think really the trade might be to take profits currently, and I do think that many people would essentially be doing that, and we're kind of seeing it in the charts as well. Do you think that people sold into buy pressure only on election coins? I don't think so. I think they're selling to buy pressure on the range of assets out there as well. We still do have a lot of uncertainty present on the market, because I think that the amount of pumpage that people were expecting from Trump winning is definitely a larger one. Like, we just broke up to 75K and we just got sent back, like, it's crazy, to 72.6. So we will be in this range. The main issue is, as usual, like, where is liquidity coming from? Why liquidity will come into your assets? Why liquidity will be coming into the market? Kind of feels like it should take a little bit more time. So a crazy good thread I wanted to go through, explaining partially the reason I'm saying that we should be receiving a correction short term. And it also feels like the market came. So you were stroking this dick for like so much time, right? And all this pressure, kind of like you were able to calm finally, right? And usually after you calm, like, you're a little bit slow. We don't want to do things out there. So it's a very, very interesting situation market-wise, right? BTC will sell off no matter who wins the election. A thread on today's election outcome. Okay, long thread ahead. Let's start this thread by analyzing the betting market, what's currently defining Bitcoin price action. On this matter, I wanted to also say that Kamala Harris tokens, they just were sent to zero. It might be actually a play to just buy out a little bit currently as this gamble, because I think the results there are still not finalized, although it seems like Trump won like 100%, right? But it's crazy. It's crazy sellout on this thing essentially as well. I lost a bunch of money on a bunch of Memecoins just because I was sleeping. Like, I did not care for some reason, right? And interesting thing I wanted to say is that several days ago, we had this pumpage, not this one, which connected with the fact that odds on poly market became 50-50 for quite some time. I do think that essentially it was a huge manipulation to perform an exit pump on this thing and perform the exit pump on essentially the polar market as well, to be able to take profits on Kama and reposition into Trump. So I think that's something that a group of insiders essentially done, and these like smart people on these coins, they essentially did the same thing as well. I did not. I'm still kind of in this setup of the market that like we have a lot of liquidity, like a bunch of like retailers in the market. At the same time, like liquidity on the market is very low, and people are taking profits. Like they see a 6-figure P&L, they take profits right away. I'm still kind of used to like large amounts, like mid 6 figures, like high 6 figures, 7 figures, and that's why like I'm kind of waiting and kind of holding, and others are just taking profits. Right. So the goal with this type of approach is essentially just to be positioned in the assets that would be able to grow long term over time. Right. This is essentially how you counter this type of behavior, and just hold. For reference, the current odds of Trump winning at time of the post are 62%, and we are trading in BTC $70,000 time of this post. So Trump won, and BTC is only up $4,000. Do you understand this? It's crazy. I'm going to start off comparing BTC price action Trump odds with the thesis that the last weeks of Bitcoin price based entirely on Trump's winning odds. I will put these price action segments in 4 different segments. So it's a chart that a lot of people were sharing essentially in the marketplace, that BTC price was heavily correlated with Trump odds winning recently. It's just crazy. It's like I think it started like from July or something. It's crazy. 5th of October, 12th of October, an alpha trade emerges. So this is the trade that these people took, which will essentially be taking profits on you currently. This is it. This is a very important piece of information. I think in this weekly time spent, one thing started to get into the minds of market participants. The probability of Trump win slowly creeping up over 50% in betting markets is not zero. Actually starting to look like this election is closer than we initially thought, post-Biden retirement. This realization does one thing in the beginning. It makes market participants hedge or re-evaluate their bias that Harris will win this election. As we can see by comparing the GSP24 Dem basket to the GSP24 Rep basket, Democrats versus Republicans, right? We can see very nicely how complacent the market was with a Harris win after the Harris-Trump debate. Very interesting situation out there. People kind of starting to price in Harris win, right? Not only were they complacent about the outcome, but they were also very mispositioned regarding the existing probability of a Trump win. Market was close to fully pricing in a Harris win after not caring at all during August, September. These were the bearish times where I was screaming that we will be in green, we will be pumping, and he's telling you about the week from 5th of October to 12th of October, but on 3rd of October, I told you that we'll be seeing the all-time high in October. And I think on my YouTube channel, I said it even earlier, right? So I gave you this alpha trade even before, right? So we have full win situation. And by the way, I also told you about 2 days ago to buy into Momo. Momo is pumping up nicely currently. I think it's actually one of the coins out there that it's due a breakout because it's consolidating for quite some time already. And if you're buying into like these pumped assets like Sigma F4, Giga, SPX, just buy Momo. I think you will be making a large amount of access and multipliers out there. So we have following situation. 75% plus thought Harris win is very probable. Barely anybody cared about hedges in case of a Trump win. Everybody was focused about index risk hedges. We suddenly have a betting market shift towards Trump like clear. There is a second thing that was happening during the time trade fight, and I think it's worth talking about it because it gives you a further understanding of how fast the sentiment changed during that time. Index level hedging during the first segment, 5th of October from 12th of October, was very high. What does this mean? It essentially means that everybody thought we might drop by a lot on index level. SPX 500, NASDAQ, and other things like Iran, all this uncertainty that was present in the marketplace. Essentially, people are buying into these things when they want to hedge against like the market going down. Everybody buys hedges for this on index level to avoid getting hit with a literal bump. The thing is, every time this insane hedging on index level happens without an actual crescendo happening, the pain trade is upwards. Exactly something that happened. Yet, right? But it's very, very interesting. Like, I think midterm it will continue. Short term, I think we're due a correction. So what happened? We went up. The worst case hedging Iran and Israel didn't happen, and we cooled off. View image returns of the hedging short term is extreme. The Middle East fight wasn't exactly important, as it, in my opinion, has been wrongly portrayed as such by crypto Twitter. The hedging during this weekly time frame was paid at an unheard premium. The stress levels investors were in made them completely focused on an index level downside risks over an election that isn't even soon. So everyone probably saw me as a clown when I saw on sort of October that we are seeing a new all-time high this month. We saw the sentiment reversal not in the early who's the fucking clown now, right? In the early days of October with oil peaking, Siemens, oil stress, but later in October. The Trump election trade began when everybody was focused on index level risks. View BTC strength ends October and not only recently. I'm telling you all this to make sure you understand. Yeah, it's a bit more information, but I'm telling you all this to make sure you understand the theme between 5th October, 12th of October, and why everyone was underexposed on this trade, and why this Trump trade is such a leading theme, and why there are no buyers left ultimately to catch the profit-taking supply. This is a very, very important thing. This is the whole reason why I'm sharing this thread. Why there are no buyers left ultimately to catch the profit-taking supply. Because a bunch of people who took this Trump trade, that believed in me telling that we will be seeing new all-time high in October, and the end of October I told you, in the midst of the correction, I told you that we're going to new all-time high 5th or 6th of November, which exactly happened. And currently I'm telling you, there are no buyers left ultimately to catch the profit-taking supply. TLDR for this index risk because of Middle East gives good buy opportunity for capital willing to call the bluff. Trump trade starts. Complacency about Harris win mean reversing with everyone focused on Middle East FUD. Very interesting situation. So one thing happens. Like, it's interesting because he kind of shows like how traders are thinking. Like I would say short to mid-term people who are trading the market. From my point of view, like, I really just want to buy assets and hold into assets and analyze potential liquidity inflows into the assets in the future, right? But this is a different, interesting type of setup. I kind of was doing the same thing with my like election plays out there, right? Trump sensitive stocks have the most hated rally fueled by nobody owns the right tail, risk on plus mean reversal for Trump. Bitcoin is not really quick to such sentiment changes, and we are one of the last movers alongside Trump media. Kinda meme stock actual baskets were quicker to adjust early October for most Republican stocks. Interestingly, right? So a lot of Republican stocks, they essentially adjusted to this trade. I would say crypto-wise, yeah, like certain people were accumulating at the start of the month, but not a lot, 100%. That's correlating upwards to Trump odds. Mean fucking reversion happening. Bitcoin shows strength from the final dip on 10th of October onwards as market participants realize that the election trade has begun and that the whole market is risk on now. 12th of October till the end of October, the chase trade. So people are entering, wanting to get supply of the coins, of the assets out there because they missed the entry at the start of the month. The amount of mercenary BTC accumulated throughout this 18 days window just for the election result to come in is insane. And this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that we should be seeing us essentially in the market taking profit, because the amount of accumulation that happened in these 18 days is insane. Smart buyers, like he's talking about BTC here, but essentially a range of assets on the marketplace, they do follow BTC, and you know it yourself, right? So that this rally was really up only, bears were marked, dips were swallowed, highest ETF inflows, just crazy bullish environment. But why? Sailor front runners? No, not really. The MicroStrategy announcement barely gave volume. It was only the election trade, only. There is no other reason, neither rates nor inflation, which should have given any buyer this chase signal other than the improving Trump odds. Crazy correlation with Trump odds. I want microanalysis removed in those days because it's relevant. Close to every day was up only. We ignored geopolitical risks, we ignored NQ weakness, and just a big fucking green candle. Correlating with what? Yeah, exactly Trump odds. Trump sensitive equities were not bought, BTC pumped. We chased price. OI kept increasing, but even at points where peps were leading by an incredibly high margin, BTC kept on rallying without a heavy flash, even though NQ showed weakness. Image $67,000, 17th of October. Price was flat for a while afterwards. Spot got up a bit without a flush, which led to actual demand was there. Not only short-term beats into leverage flush. It's very, very important when the asset, when the BTC is not growing on leverage, that's usually a very, very great sign out there. Also, in my opinion, sign that this is event-driven trend where people want to have an entry. Interesting situation out there. So there was no entry given. Also here, top performance in macro last week, all Trump trade related. I think around 14th of October we went from wait, we didn't consider the probability of Trump winning accordingly to wait, Trump looks like he's winning, better chase positions now. Do you really think nuclear and commercial real estate is just randomly pumped alongside Bitcoin sensitive equities? No, they are all three going up because of the Trump trade, which people will be taking profits on right now as we speak, right now. The meat of this move was made here during this week. Again, the meat of the Trump trade was made here. Anything that followed from here was just absolute mercenary capital betting on short-term results. Let me explain this more. Very, very interesting situation. Meat of the trades was made already. And like currently we are in liquidity creation zone, essentially around the stage of this trade, right? After, which is exactly something that's happening. I do like this phrase. There is no enough buying pressure to scoop up selling volume, taking profits, selling volume currently. Sell volume. After having up only for a few days, it finally happened. Prediction markets reversed. 13th of October to 4th of November, reversal trade. So this was a huge correction before the election, which I told you that we will be seeing new all-time high in 5th and 6th of November. And again, very, very tight correlation with Trump odds for the first time. And I'm telling you currently it was a manipulation because probably some insiders got information about Trump, or they decided that Trump will eventually be winning. So they decided to essentially scam out the odds on the poly markets to dump the market so they can exit their position that they had around Kamala and Harris and enter the Trump. And the same thing happened with the meme coins by the people who understood this. I kind of thought about it, but I did not act. For the first time since October 10th, we did not slurp the dips as much as we used to. And this during an all-time high run, where essentially nothing changed apart from technical factors like OI even getting better. People were hesitant. Why? Election de-risking, S&P 500 extends gained 1%. Nasdaq 100 up 1.2%. What fucking election de-risking? It's again Trump odds. They are decreasing and thus this large sell-off happens. This correlation a few months ago was unheard of. What proves it to me? The amount of supply that is in hands of election bettors is so high that it completely drives price action. Completely. Which means that all the movements that was happening for the last months is pushed by election traders. And election traders will be taking profits currently. So let's face the question I'm talking about because the bull case played out. About in this thread. Why is Trump win if it's so important for BTC price action right now? Not catapult Bitcoin beyond 80k. Trump won, we are not beyond 80k. We are not beyond 80k, 100%. Every micro move right now is a Trump correlation, but a Trump win won't pump BTC. Who's going? It's a very, very interesting thing because really every micro move was correlated by Bitcoin, but at the same time the guy is saying that Trump win won't be pumping BTC. So it's a very, very interesting question to ask because you're pretty much saying that once the result is there, the correlation stops. And we are entering a crazy discorrelation scenario where BTC chart stops following essentially Trump winning odds and we're not catapulting. Because the bulk of the trade is made. Like we're still in a harsh PvP scenario. Like they're not leading retail into the slaughterhouse. They're not showing ads about BTC out there everywhere and things like that. And not everyone is talking to crypto. We're still in this market where PvP with each other, the bulk of the trade is made already. Who's going to be the next buyer and why? Important question that you should be asking yourself when entering each and every coin out there. Who's going to step up after Trump win and say, yes, now is a good time to buy lots of Bitcoins? Will there be people? Yes, surely. But do those people outweigh the 1 month long accumulation of Bitcoin supply that is ready to take profit once bet worked out? One more time. But do those people outweigh the 1 month long accumulation of Bitcoin supply that is ready to take profit once their bet worked out? No. Will BART the entire move back down after Trump win? Well, this is a crazy thing to say that we will BART the entire move back down after Trump win. Like, should we be going to back to 60k? I don't think so. I'm expecting a correction. This large correction I'm not expecting, to be honest. A very interesting take, if you think about that. What short-term incentives are there for people to buy Bitcoin right now? Yeah, this is the next question I kind of had in my mind. When you just saw me thinking about a second, the thing I was thinking about is what are the upcoming narratives? What are the upcoming events? What people have to look up to currently? Like, we had pump in March and April based on the BTC ETF. We had current pump since August based on election. Trump won, right? People will be taking profits currently. Because this trade is really not from the start of October. This trade is from the end of, it's like, I think it's from the middle of July. When on Crypto Banter ran shared, I think one of the first people as well, that chart of BTC correlates heavily with Trump election odds. I think the correlation was spotted the first around middle of July. This is not the trade from October. This is trade from middle of July. And all these people will be taking profits. It's crazy. What short-term incentives are there for people to buy Bitcoin right now? They will be taking profits on the trade. They will understand we're going to a correction, and they will scoop up the supply cheaper in upcoming couple of months. Like, everyone is too fucking bullish. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. But mid-term to long-term, I think we're going higher. We're going up. I'm just talking about short-term, but we'll see, because these guys kind of bearish mid-term as well. Kind of makes sense if you think about that, right? Because we'll have some fuckery around like Trump entering the office and things like that. We'll see. Is Trump going to walk into the office on the inauguration date and announce the sovereign Bitcoin state fund? No. What policies are there yet to change? Not so many. US is already becoming Bitcoin friendly. How many times did Trump talk about Bitcoin, crypto over immigration, etc. in his election campaign? Nothing will change so fast, and people are left with a 2 months plus time window, 20th of January, until he's like... It's interesting because I'm saying things and then I'm seeing this in the text. Obviously, I read this text before, but I probably don't remember. So I'm kind of coming to the same conclusions that this guy came to when writing this text. That's crazy. 2 months plus time window, 20th of January. Pretty much have nothing happening until he's actually in office, and another long time window until something might eventually happen. Market needs a narrative to perform pumpage. And like, it would be crazy because a lot of like, I'm telling you this, I kind of don't like the current situation myself much, because like I was not able to make much on this pump, mainly because like I was not taking profits on a bunch of things that pumped. Some things I was selling prematurely, right? But like, I still have this feeling that certain assets that did not pump yet, that they should be moving higher. They just should be, right? At the same time, like, it's crazy. If you would really think about this, the bulk of this trade, the main meat of this trade is already done, because it's not from October till November. It's from mid of July till October. And people who are holding the largest amount of supplies on all of the coins, they were entering in August, somewhere in August. So it's like 3 to 4 months trade for them. And this narrative, like, one thing I like as well is that this narrative was being created in the marketplace that, yeah, like, we are pumping in November, December, and I consistently told you, we'll be pumping before the election, and after that, we'll already be in liquidity creation zone, with essentially people taking profits on people who would be entering. And not a lot of people are entering currently. We can't even break $80,000 BTC, because, like, smart people understand what is happening. It's crazy. 2 months time window, 20th of January, until he's actually in office, and another long time window until something might eventually happen. Let me tell you one thing, traders don't bet on something that eventually might happen in 2 months minimum. What exactly are you front running there? The assumption that something might happen which is bullish is that you total fool of a trader, you monkey in front of the charts. What I'm trying to say, nobody serious is front running the Trump presidency by purchasing Bitcoin now. People are front running an election result close in the future. The probabilistic odds of a 40% Harris win also make it less attractive to long here. You are still getting dumped on me a massive amount of short-term supply with 40% odds. I think lots of people forget that this election is now a Mount Meadow with short-term capital. Would you take a bet where 40% odds you lose $10, 60% odds you win $4? That's, in my opinion, the current upside compared to downside. You can calculate the EV for longs versus shorts here yourself. Image. These are describing exactly the feeling a lot of election BTC supply will have once this 2 months time window arises. This is crazy. Crazy thing as well. As traders, our job is to think probabilistically and find the biggest discrepancies between expectations and accurate pricing. Once most of these predictions came to fruition, Trump, it's essentially about previous election, 2021, right? Once both of these predictions came to fruition, Trump winning the Republicans' nomination, his price hitting 65 cents, I felt satisfied. I had captured the meat of the move and took profit in my positions and proxy bets, as most of the delta between expectations and reality had eroded. This is what they will be doing. This is crazy. TLDR, my projected Bitcoin price action. Trump winning initial excitement, maybe around to all-time high. Now support at mid-70s, low 70s, and we dump back lower. Sophisticated holders step in and purchase BTC as an inflation thematic asset, which should send us into the long-term accumulation again. We should be probably seeing some fuckeries meme coins in the meantime. So I think, especially with BTC doing things, some of them should be running. But yeah, Harris win, 1 month long, Trump win, front run fails, big dump, more sophisticated holders buy up supply, run slowly back towards all-time high, and inflation thematic assets. So the outcome essentially was the same for this guy. Too many people are bullish. I'm not buying this. I really think this election result doesn't really matter. I'm bullish on Bitcoin as an inflation hedge. I think short-term volatility to the upside is greatly overestimated, and the meat of the move already happened. The meat of the move already happened. This is the trade from the middle of July. You're not smart if you're buying currently expecting the pumpage of the market. Important. It's not a short thesis. This is a don't listen to dumb form of thesis. Bitcoin to $100,000 will happen in 2025 to 2026, in his opinion. I'm not sure Bitcoin anymore or Ethereum. I publicly told about all my trades on Telegram. The remaining 573 posts on this thread are the retards in the comments somehow saying I'm dumb for shorting, while I'm not even shorting at this moment. This is just an opinion post. Don't take it too seriously. I honestly like it. I honestly think that this is something that should be happening. So how you should be playing out this information? I think we're due a short-term dump, and then are we actually due for a continuation of the sideways fuckery? Because it really seems like it might be the case. I'm just not seeing essentially additional liquidity inflows into the market currently. I'm not seeing that right now. I'm not seeing this at this stage. And this perfectly explains the reasons why we essentially were pumping up. The things that I did not tell you, because my projections, they were essentially just coming technically and sentiment based, right? And I was showing them. I was not essentially analyzing this thing from this trade point of view. This is a great piece of analysis. I truly enjoyed and essentially like it. Here's actually an update. I'm running swap system shorting BTC throughout election day. Already in first position, we'll share system afterwards plus execute orders. Let's see where this goes. To the sub 90 IQ people. Very interesting situation. Not even considering my position here, a lot of people seem to be really retarded and misunderstand this thread, even though it should be completely clear what I'm saying. I expect this move to completely retrace in the first half of the 2 months window, in case he wins. Trump hasn't even won yet. Some retards think it's already invalidated. This thesis didn't even start to play out. Let the market react to the projected win and to all-time high FOMO. You'll see what I mean afterwards. Crazy. So people did not understand this because, yeah, I hope I explained this to you and you understand this. The bulk of this thread is the fact that he's sharing that the move should be retraced because people will be taking profits. This is not October trade only. This is trade from the middle of July, from August 100%. So people that were accumulating at the bottoms, they're due a sell-off at this stage. I do think they might be repositioned into, speaking of meme coins, they might be repositioned to memes that didn't pump yet. Although I don't expect a huge pumpage of them, from them short term. A very interesting situation on this marketplace currently. So this is it, guys. This is the overview. Trump is the president of the United States of America. I don't think it's confirmed yet at this stage, but it seems like it should be confirmed in very, very short term. Thank you very much for watching this video. Stay healthy and rich, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.